up everyone? Welcome to Dragonfrost. I am Aniket and I will be reviewing Game of Thrones Season 7 this year. If you are new to the channel, please click on the subscribe button to get updates about the other videos that I will be doing about Game of Thrones. So before I get into the episode, I would like to take your attention to this picture here. What do you see? You can see a sea beside the wall. This is from season 6. This picture was taken from season 6, the opening credits. Let's look at the next picture. Now this one is from season 7. And look what you see. The entire sea has been frozen. Maybe that's how the White Walkers are going to cross the wall. It can be a foreshadowing. Let's remember that the opening credits for the show are extremely important. So everything that they show in the opening credits has a great meaning to what's going to happen in that show. For example, we are seeing the scenes from Citadel. And what do we see? Citadel has been added in the opening credits. So in my opinion, that is how the White Walkers are going to cross the wall. Well, we know that Bran has already crossed the wall and he has been marked by the Night's King. Maybe that is another way through which the Night King can attack the wall and make the wall crumbling down. But is that truly what's going to happen? Only future can tell. We don't know. 2 episodes are already over out of 7. And as we go closer to the finale, more and more things will be revealed. Season 7 episode 2 of Game of Thrones, that was Dragonstone, had plenty of plot twists and shocking moments to keep even the most casual viewer coming back for more. But after a few rewatches, even more layers of the story come to light. We start the episode with the meeting between Cersei and her inner circle. Cersei is at Dragonstone, which is just a foot away from King's Landing. So if she wants, she can just press the go button and start her attack and start the journey towards conquering Westeros. But right now, she is not in a bullshit mode. So she says, "Don't tell me the stories that you told my brother." And she's trying to gain the trust of everyone in her inner circle. We had the first foreshadowing of the episode when Dany demands Varys to look her in the eyes and tell her when she's failing. Maybe she will fail in the future? The next meeting on Dany's calendar is with Lady Melisandre. The Red Lady tells Dany about the prophecy and that Jon and Dany have a big role to play in this. Dany is the prince or the princess who was promised. Azor Ahai. I am not fully sold on this idea yet. Let's see what the coming episodes will unveil. Tyrion makes a solid point. Jon is a good person and an enemy of an enemy is, well. So of course the email, and here we are transitioning to Winterfell. That is something that I'm really liking about this season. They are not wasting time at all. They have clubbed the characters together at different places. So whenever you are transitioning to a place, you are looking at the story of those multiple characters at the same time. I think that was a big problem in season 3, 4 and 5. They had so many new characters scattered everywhere around the world that in one episode they could hardly touch 2 or 3 characters fully to give them justice. But in this season, they know that the time is running out. They're already on the 2nd episode out of 7, so they don't have time running around the jungles and covering everyone's adventures. They're getting to the point in every episode. So here we are in Winterfell. Now before I get on the story, did you notice the hair of Sansa? It looks so similar to Cersei. Even in the first episode, she mentions that she learned a lot from Cersei. I mean, Sansa has the worst mentors ever. Now, Jon, Cersei and Sir Davos are interpreting the mail that is received from Tyrion. Is it really coming from him? Is it a trap? Are you willing to take that risk? So while they are weighing all these equations, we should also consider that Jon and Tyrion have had very little conversation in the past. So everything that they know about each other is from that conversation. And that truly signifies the ripple effect that we have. The actions that you do today will affect your life in future, maybe in 6 months, maybe in a year, you never know, maybe 30 years from now. But that ripple effect is extremely important. So that's why we should be cautious of the actions that we do today. The war has begun. This is a war of queens. We are looking at the preparations from both sides. When we come to King's Landing, we see Cersei using her words to persuade the noblemen and the noble houses to back her in the coming war. Randall Tarly, the father of our beloved Maester Samwell Tarly, is a seasoned battle commander and consider himself to be an honorable man. So him backing Cersei is really difficult to digest for him. And that's where Jaime comes in. Now Jaime is trying to persuade him as well by calling to his honor, by calling to the oath that he has taken for the crown. Jaime even dangles the carrot of becoming Warden of the South to Randall Tarly. Now, the next scene is extremely important. Because our Maester Qyburn, the Hand of the Queen, has been doing his research on the life of Daenerys in Meereen. That makes me wonder if there is a mole in Daenerys' fleet. I will not be surprised at all if we see a mole in Dany's fleet in the coming episodes. Because when Cersei was talking to the noble houses, she talked about what all things Dany has done when she was in Meereen. And now we know that Qyburn has intimate knowledge of how the dragons were hurt during a fight. So all this information is not being posted on Google. So it has to be coming from somewhere. We also see that he has prepared a major bow, a major crossbow to attack the dragons. I would say they have the element of surprise to attack the first time, but don't ever for 1 second think that the dragons are stupid or the dragon queen is stupid. Once you attack, you have lost that element of surprise, and the dragons are not Rickon Stark, and the dragons are not that stupid Stark boy who went in straight line when someone was hunting him. I'm sure the dragons will zigzag and avoid the attack being done on them. At least I hope so. Have you looked at Dany's calendar this year? It is packed! Back-to-back meetings. Next, we go to the War Council meeting, where everyone wants to use Dany to gain their own advantage. Illyria Sand wants the vengeance for Oberyn. Elena Martell wants the vengeance for the killing of her family. We also have Yara Greyjoy, who wants to rule the Ironborn. But then Tyrion and Dany are looking at the entire setup as a chess game. They want to make the right moves. They don't want to attack the King's Landing with foreign savages and gain the wrath of the common people. Hence, Tyrion is proposing the democratic way. He is proposing the way that forces from Westeros will conquer Westeros. That way, Dany will not appear to be a foreigner who is ruling them over. He wants Dany to be a queen who is loved by the people. Whereas, in contrast, we have seen Cersei. She is a queen who is feared by her people. Remember what Randall Tarly said in his meeting with Jaime. My queen had summoned me, and I know what she does to the people who don't show up. But coming back to the Dragonstone, the best dialogue in the war meeting was delivered by Elena Martell. She said, "You are a dragon. Be a dragon." We next move to Citadel, where Sam is trying to convince Archmaester Marwyn to allow him to cure Jorah. But we'll come to that. First, let's talk about the book that Marwyn is planning to write. A chronicle of wars following the death of King Robert I. I had the same expression as Sam. But when Sam says, let's call it something poetic, how about a song of ice and fire? This has been a theory among fans for a long time that everything that we are seeing now is actually from a book that Sam has written. And then we move to the scene that ruined cheeseburst pizza for me forever. Sam is using the techniques from the books that he has found to cure Jorah. It's quite painful and disgusting to watch. And what's more disgusting is the transition from this scene to the one in the crossroads, where someone is having someone is having a bread full of cheese at the same time. So this gruesome transition has been the theme of this entire season. Even in the previous season, Dan and David have the showmakers. Even in the previous seasons, the showmakers have been taunting us with these funny transitions. If Samuel cures Jorah, which he will, let's try to peek into the future. If by the grace of the Seven, Samuel cures Jorah, what next? Where is this story going to move next? Is Jorah going to go back to Dany and keep helping her? Or we know that Sam, who is going to be ultimately making a lot of discovery in Citadel, will Jorah help Sam in getting the word around, or even traveling with Sam to protect him? Certainly possible, right? With that, we go to the crossroads where we see Arya again. This time she's meeting Hot Pie, when Hot Pie has made an amazing reappearance in the show. And what's curious to know that Hot Pie can see that something has changed inside Arya. She's just dead. She seems to be dead inside. She just wants to go to King's Landing and kill Cersei, although she doesn't say that out loud. And another one is another great point that we saw was where Arya referred to the Frey pies that she cooked in the previous season, and she compares that with the pies that Hot Pie has made. Certainly a lot of comparison here. So food plus gruesomeness equal to Game of Thrones season 7. But as she learns that now Jon is the king in the north, he is ruling the north, she changes her way. She is in a true dilemma when she comes out of the crossroads on her horse, and if she goes straight, she is going to the King's Landing. If she turns back, that's where the north is, that's where her family is. She chooses family. That's great. Which means she still has a human element left inside her. And we'll see how that comes in. Because all of this is a foreshadowing. Because all of this is a great stage planning. Jon is moving out of Winterfell. So Arya is coming in, Sansa is there, we know Bran is coming in as well. So Bran, Sansa and Arya, all the true-born children of the House Stark are in the same place for the first time after the first season. So it's going to be very interesting. And I'm sure Mr. Littlefinger is going to try to meddle with all of these affairs and try to gain something out for himself. Because as we learned from him in the previous season, that chaos isn't a pit, chaos is a ladder. So first he will try to create a chaos and then make a ladder out of it. Next we move to Winterfell again. Jon is speaking in the Great Hall of Winterfell. Well, in this season you may have seen that there has been a lot of talk inside the four walls by Jon Snow. And I'm really glad that he's moving out of Winterfell, because soon, despite of how many good words you speak within those walls, it's gonna get boring very soon. Jon informs everyone about the discovery of Dragonglass by Sam and the invitation by Daenerys. All of his allies demand that he stay in Winterfell because the risk is far too great. But for the second time in a row, Jon has overridden their wishes, doing what he feels is right. He has decided to travel to Dragonstone to meet Dany. He knows it's a risk, one that he is willing to take. But the main reason for that confidence is because of the little interaction that he had with Tyrion in the first season. That really shows the power of the ripple effect. The actions that you today will be causing a ripple in your life a few years from now. Bigger the pebble, bigger the ripple wave. And then we have the amazing 6 minutes of battle scene of Greyjoys being attacked by Euron Greyjoy. Regarding that battle, there is one scene. I mean, it was an amazing battle. I love the way Euron makes his entry on that bridge, which looks like the claws, which he. I love the way Euron makes his entry on top of that bridge, where he just lands on top of a man, completely crushing him. The entire battle was filmed absolutely perfect, really well. The entire battle was shot really well. They covered the point of views of a lot of characters. Although there were a lot of flaws that I could find in this. So Yara Greyjoy, who is supposed to be a really good battle commander herself, how could she have such weak security that Euron could come right under her nose and she doesn't even know about it? Next, we see that the Sand Snakes are fighting with Euron Greyjoy with stupid weapons. Who uses a whip when you are fighting a battle axe? We have also seen that when Oberyn was fighting, he used to poison his weapons. Why didn't the Sand Snake poison theirs? Stupid little girls. And in the end, when everything is lost, it's just Theon standing in front of Euron, who has captured his sister. And what does he do? He jumps into the water, literally jumps the ship. He's just crawling back into, he just crawls back into the shell of being Reek again. So we have seen two types of brothers in this episode. One is Jon, where Littlefinger tells him that I love Sansa just the way I loved your mother, and he grabs him by the throat. By the way, did you notice that Littlefinger likes to get choked up by Stark men? For in the first season it was Ned Stark, in the seventh season it is Jon Snow. So there is one brother who chokes the person who says something bad about his sister, and there is another brother where he can see his sister being captured and still jumps the ship. Some might say that it was a cowardly act, but still, despite of being a coward, Theon still survived. He is the one who can go back to Dragonstone. He can tell what happened to Dany. Now, if you look at the power struggle here, earlier Dany was on a higher vantage point because she had two great houses supporting her cause, and now she was waiting for Jon, so she could be having the upper hand. But now that she has lost Greyjoys, Euron can take the same fleet and put a siege around Dragonstone. So in this case, at the moment, Cersei seems to be having a good time in this battle. She has the secret weapons. She may have a mole on Dany's side. She also has the fleet from from Euron Greyjoy, and without lifting a hand, she has been able to do that. So it's really interesting to know when Euron goes back to King's Landing with the prize of the Sand Snakes, of the remaining Sand Snake and their mother Illyria Sand, how they are treated by Cersei and Mountain. Remember, Mountain, right? Alright guys, so that was my review for Season 7, Episode 2. See you all in the review for the next episode. Bye-bye.